Hi, welcome to the Industry Astrology Full Moon Forecast for September of 2022. The moon is waxing, the energy is increasing, getting brighter and bigger this week. How have you been feeling? The moon is growing brighter, and on September 10th at 3 o'clock a.m. Pacific time, the moon will reach the peak of its brightness and then begin to wane again. And excitement, anticipation, and maybe perhaps something nostalgic about this full moon. This full moon has a special energy to it as well because it's happening just as Mercury is stationing retrograde. Mercury retrograde can bring in a lot of trouble, with communications, miscommunications, or problems with travel and electronics in general, computers. So this full moon, especially right because it's happening on the station, is a more hazardous time for these types of things. But it is a powerful beginning for this Mercury retrograde, who is exalted in Virgo in the Vedic astrological system. This is a time, I think, that could be powerful for inner work, for remembering the past, for doing research, digging up things from the past, and because this full moon also has a very special meaning in Vedic tradition for connecting with the ancestors, honoring the ancestors in the next 2 weeks. Connecting with the spirit world is something that may be easier than usual. The 2-week holy time called Pitru Paksha, the fortnight of the ancestors, is beginning on this full moon and will extend until the new moon. So the entire waning moon period, the moon will get darker and thinner, and so will the veil between the living and the dead. This is a time to honor loved ones that have passed away. It's a time that you can access a great deal of wisdom and a higher perspective on things, a time to get guidance and also to ask for forgiveness for things that have passed on as well. So combined with Mercury retrograde, this seems to be a very powerful time to be doing inner work. The retrograde can bring us back into this inner place, but also Mercury is the only deity that was allowed to step into the underworld, the world of Hades, and come back again with messages. This full moon is in the nakshatra called Purva Bhadrapada. Purva Bhadrapada nakshatra. So this is the area of the sky that is near the end of the zodiac in Aquarius and Pisces. It's really the great square of Pegasus. Bhadrapada, one translation of this is blessed feet, fortunate feet. And feet are symbols of humility. They're sort of the foundation on which we stand, right? So they give us the ability to travel, to move around, but also they are symbols of this sort of service and humility. Purva Bhadrapada is also associated with the feet of sort of a coffin or a place where a cremation fire is burned. So because of its association with endings and transformation, there's something in Purva Bhadrapada that is really all about release and letting go. It's got the element of fire within it. It's scorching energy. The deity associated with Purva Bhadrapada is called Aja Ekapada. It's a kind of naga, a spirit, a serpent spirit of fire, but also associated with a form of Lord Shiva who is standing on one foot in a kind of tapas, a fire of transformation, of cooking that allows for detachment and release from this world. So there's something about staying in balance, even with the fire of life always burning around us. Where do we find our center? Where do we find a way to keep the balance and endure, right? So very real, very strong energy in Purva Bhadrapada, and a powerful way to start out this Pitru Paksha, this time of worshiping the ancestors that we're going to have in the waning moon to come. Okay, so let's just take a look at what the tarot cards have to say about this full moon in Purva Bhadrapada. Okay, so the first card that came through is the Princess of Cups. So much about service, so much about being helpful with the Bhadrapada. Charitable. And also offering help, not only to the people around you, but to yourself, I think that, and to your ancestors. Offering thanks and appreciation. And then the Two of Coins, change. The serpent of time there, the serpent of change. Purva Bhadrapada being ruled by a naga, a serpent spirit of transformation, of fire that burns away the old, right? Aja Ekapada. And I think it's interesting. I believe we got this card last time as well, didn't we? For the new moon. And one thing that is happening too, since last month, is that Venus has been dropping from her position in the morning sky as morning star, and she's now going into the combustion with the sun. It's a process in the next few weeks where she won't be visible, and she will reappear later as evening star much later in about 2 months. Yes, her combustion is happening on October 22nd. And so it's a big transformational time in general for relationships when this is happening, especially all Venus-ruled topics in your chart, depending on how your chart is configured, but also financial transformation as well, friendships, letting go of the past and honoring the past, especially with this Mercury retrograde. Maybe even reviewing things to get clarity, but then letting go. And I think the princess here, the Prince of Swords, is really showing the confusion of Mercury retrograde at times as well, and how the mind can pull us in many directions. This Mercury retrograde in Virgo is powerful, it's exalted. It has a lot of potential for insight. And it is getting a direct aspect from Jupiter and the distant outer planet Neptune as well, which can make things, I think, a little, more mysterious, more confusing as well, but can help us bridge the gaps, I think, in the next few weeks to come. And the thing about Mercury retrogrades is it's often felt more like confusion and lack of progress. It's more like detours and reviews and having to do things again and again. But this process often brings in big awakenings and realizations that last for a long time, that really help take us to the next level. So yeah, take a look. Be present with innocence and look around to see where you can help. There is so much change and transformation upon us. A resolution is coming with a clear path after the fire. Connect to how you can balance, bring into equilibrium, and find the right way to be of service. Your service is very needed in this time. Remember that detours often can turn into shortcuts. Trust in the turns and twists of fate and allow for change. Okay, thanks for coming to the An Industry Astrology Full Moon Forecast. I do offer one-on-one Vedic astrology readings and tarot readings online. You can book a reading with me on my website. I'll leave the link in the description window below. Also, I do offer online classes. Check them out, and my newsletter, which is free. You should be sure to get on that. You can calculate your birth star if you know your birth time as well on my website, and be sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel, and I will see you soon on the next moon.